Ready?
Ready?
Okay, good deal.
Okay. It's good to get back in the win column, obviously. I feel like the last couple weeks our guys have really worked hard to get some things corrected, had the right mindset in their preparation. We want to be more consistent. Obviously, today it was far from perfect, many mistakes out there, but a lot to get corrected. I think it was important to play a lot of guys. There's players that work extremely hard. A lot of young guys got in there tonight, and I think that's extremely important. And first half, I wish we could have got a few more points. I got some guys a few more snaps, but we pulled away late. But I told you that all week, that it was going to be like that in our team. And I think our team had that mindset. They knew that you have to go beat them. You have to go win the snap. And it was going to be methodical in some ways. They are a good team, well coached. They keep things in front of them. They play extremely hard. They mixed up some pressures. They were adding on guys that got some pressure. And so a lot to fix, but I thought we're very balanced. I don't know what the stats were in the first half, but I know we had a lot of yards and a lot of first downs. I wish we had a few more points. We screwed that up at the end of the first half. That's on me. I knew better. I knew I should have kicked it on third like I was going to. And that's on me. I'll kick it. With no timeouts, we had to kick it there. Good to see Gavin get some reps. I thought Brock did a really good job as well, played tough. Got some yards. It was good to get some yards, get the ball in the air a little bit. Obviously, we got to continue to work protection. Defensively, played really well most of the game. If we don't give them that field possession, we probably get the shutout. So, defensively, good effort. I'll open it up. Questions?
What can you say about that? As much as the passing game has struggled the last 2 weeks, that you can still have a performance like this and compare he's made the strides he has over the course of the year.
Yeah, and I would imagine the one big one was called back as well, right? So that was him that caught that, right? Yeah. So I think it just shows for all those guys. They all as a group, work really hard in their timing, and they're running hard in practice. As it's been hot, and they're just grinding, running, and sometimes the ball doesn't find you, and sometimes it does. If you do things right and you continue to work really hard, eventually that ball will find you. And obviously we need to do things to protect and put him in position. But I think it's just a testament to how consistent he's been, the way he's worked and the way he's, just put his head down and gotten better.
Last week, Coach, you guys.
Offensively, but you talked about how there were some mistakes that you guys would like to fix. Looking at an offensive standpoint, what are some of those mistakes that you hope to address as you guys look to head on the road for the first time?
The ball on the ground, penalties, pre-snap, holding. There's a lot of things that we can do better, so all those things.
Coach, you guys
have last week used Jamarian a lot, and this week you got a lot of runs. What have you seen out of him the last few weeks? And it's a young guy, and it seems like he's running hard right now.
Jamarian is a guy that you've heard me say it many times, that I believed in his talent, and he's a very good player. We are leaning on him to be consistent on and off the field and, do things right. Be on time to meetings and little things, and know all the protection. As he gets more snaps, he'll be, more engaged, and he'll get better, with opportunities as far as all the little nuances to the offense and the protections and things of that nature. As far as running the ball, he's tough as nails. I mean, a week ago, you guys probably don't even see it, but I mean, he's on kickoff and he's running people over on kickoff team, getting to the football as a running back. So I mean, that he has the toughness, and I think you saw last week and this week just the way he runs it. He's been, very efficient, very tough, and trying to be more accountable in all ways.
Mark, you had the end of half one, but then there was another time where it looked like you were in a lineup for a field goal and you called timeout, and then you going for it. So is there?
We were right on that cusp, honestly. So we had the timeouts. That at the end of the first half is obviously different than end of game. Mm-hmm. And so I had the timeout, and I thought it was wisely used to discuss it. And, you know, and with talking to our special teams guys, it was right on the cusp. I'd been putting a lot of pressure on them a little bit. I put a lot of pressure on out, so I thought that was about a yard or two. We felt like the wind at that point was in our face. We felt it a little bit as it was swirling, and we decided to go for it.
Mark, how big was it for the defense? Not only did you finally get a fumble, but then Max get the fix that.
Yeah, it was really good. It took us a while to get that fumble, though. Huh? It's still, I mean, I just had to shake my head as it was going through. You know what I mean? Like that. I was like, really? You know, but it was good. I mean, it was important at that moment, too, to, you know, buck up and keep them out of the end zone and get that turnover and give us decent field position and get back off the field. And then Maxwell's was a really nice play and nice call, and you know, the defenders really played it well. You know, Pop really passed it and pushed through the zone, so it looked like man, but we were actually in zone and rolled up on it. It was a nice play, the way we executed it.
Mark, with Brock and how much duress he's been under in the pocket, how hard is it for a quarterback who really hasn't played very much to sort of make normal progression under these circumstances?
I think, you know, it obviously, you know, he was 17 at 24, but that doesn't count. Probably running for his life on, you know, 6 or 8 and you know, the sacks. But you know, but to him, you know, I think it you know, we have to speed up, and he has to, you know, to go through a progression for us to progress. You know, we got to get some time. That's why late in the game there, I was saying let's continue to throw the ball, even with the negatives, and you know, it got a little sloppy. I thought there was a couple questionable in defense of our right tackle. I thought a couple of those weren't great calls, but that's me. You know what I mean? It wasn't like at the time you feel like, oh, you know, it's really sloppy. But I did after watching it on the iPad, I have to defend them a little bit, you know, on that. I think, overall, we know there's improvement to be made. And so we were trying to just work on that thing. When Gavin got in, I wanted to see him and give him an opportunity to throw the ball and just run our offense. And so I thought that was important just to do that.
Mark, you guys got Gavin in early in the game on some runs and some options. Is that something you guys plan to see going forward, or is it just kind of getting some things worked out? And just how did that look during the pace of the game?
Well, we had been working that for weeks, you know, and just as I mentioned, that I think, you know, we understand the week before there was just not the right time for it. The way that game was, you know, every play was so important. And today, I think we just had it in the mindset to get it going. You know, get them in there and get them a few snaps, and so that's what our plan was.
Getting more explosives was kind of the talk going into this game. But those didn't turn into touchdowns, I think, except for Barry Allen's there at the very end, because he did have to settle for some field goals. So, do you like the direction they took from an explosive play standpoint today?
It's improvement. You know, it's improvement. You know, I think, you know, going into this game, and it's been our mindset to continue to improve. And, you know, I told you, you know, prior to the week 3 game, you know, with UGA, that like everybody was just more, you know, we just focused in trying to improve. And, you know, you always have to play with an attitude and effort, right? That's it's a non-negotiable for us. And, but I think we need to play disciplined and more focused. And today, I thought at times we were, and obviously we have some limitations. We have some areas where we have to get better. And we tried to work on those things as we understand, you know, we're going to move through the league here now.
Mark, you mentioned getting a lot of guys in. Ryan
Had a press break up on 3rd down, and then Soul sent another hit on the quarterback.
what's kind of stood out to you about those two guys?
Both of them, you know, Tarian had a little hammy in camp, late in camp, that slowed him a little bit, but he's showed a lot of promise. And Souls is relentless. You know, he plays extremely hard. He's got some natural pass rushing ability, so it's good to get him in there.
He got overlooked, I think, by a lot of people because of his size. Is that wiggle just enough to mitigate any sort of size concern?
It is. I mean, you know, I think we as an organization, I mean, obviously we want some guys that are Deion size, and, you know, we want some guys that just have some attributes, and he certainly does have that looseness, that wiggle. He has a good feel for the game, and he's relentless. You know, and there's been some great ones that have been on the shorter end too. You know.
Mark, did you kind of joke or say anything to JJ when he came off the field after that near fumble back?
No, I didn't. I was just still shaking my own head.
Mark, you only have
one punt, but it was Aiden out there today. Was
Yeah.
that just wanted more distance? And
Yeah.
it looked like there
We just have been working Aiden, and I told you, I think I mentioned it, he was getting closer and closer, and we're continuing to work when we hit that one pretty good. We didn't even sky it, that's why none of the guys went to the ball. We didn't know he was going to hit it that good.
Everybody good? Mark, you guys got to get out of SEC play, now you got to jump back into it. What does this look like for you guys to ramp up and try to have a better start, get that first SEC?
Well, as I told the guys, I mean, it's kind of nice for them. I mean, obviously it was a hot day. Appreciate the fans being out there, just sitting there in that kind of heat. So thank you once again. And for our players, it was a hot day, but we needed that, to test us, to push us, and it's nice in a way because we play very early next week. So I need our guys. I need them out. I don't need them out all night. I need them getting some rest, getting some sleep, and we need to have a great week of preparation because we know the challenge that lies ahead. They're going to tax you in all ways, and stress you in a lot of ways. So we got to be, on point from the beginning of the week.
On that fourth down near midfield that led to
Yeah.
that score, by the way. Was that the right play that Brock made? He just dropped the ball?
Yeah, they squeezed and scraped, off the zone read, so I didn't see how the ball, whether it was the exchange or whatever, but they chased the back, so he wasn't going to make it. And then, so he could pull it, but I didn't see what happened. But the tackle's got to push, get to the backer on the squeeze and scrape. So that's in real time. That's what it appeared to me that it was. And somewhere in between there, the ball went on the ground. I don't know if he hit him, if he pulled it, but it was the right read. Again, we should just take our time, get in the right set. You know what I mean? We were trying to draw them off sides, and so we were in that set. The play clock's going. I wish I would have gave better direction, and you know what I mean. And I'd rather get in a big set and hand the ball off straight downhill. You know what I mean? But there are times, you know what I mean, when you have quarterback that could run, and we have some good plays, and we have some follows. We have good design plays that could get some short yards. We just didn't there.
Do you feel like that after 4 games, you at least have a better idea of what you want the operation to look like?
Well, I think that's.
I feel like there was a couple of moments where.
I think that's a fair point, and a good point, and that's where with Bush and I in talking on the headset, and for him, like. I think he has a good understanding of who we are and what we are, and I also want to make sure we're trying to push to get better, you know what I mean, and improve in the areas where we're not as far along as we'd like to be. It's hard, for him and for us, and there's a lot of firsts, right? It's really hard, when you come in spring and in camp, and I tell our players this, and I tell you this, like there's no possible way we could put them in all these scenarios that happen. So there's a lot of firsts. And, that's what I told him in here as we were discussing it at halftime. I'm like, that's on me because there's no I've been here for 12 years. No. I know the BS that happens sometimes. You know what I mean? And it's like, so I should have known better and kicked the dang ball. I know. I've been here. You know what I mean? Where other places, you know what I mean? You could drop back on 3rd and 12 and, but the way we're, protecting right now or whatever, it should have got the 3.
Mark, I know it seems like we ask about him every week, and I know you don't want to set up a field goal. How much peace of mind does it give you as a coach just knowing that, Alex, he has missed?
Well, it's really important. I mean, it's good, and I guess I made one good decision today when I went for it on 4th. I ended up going down there and scoring that touchdown instead of putting all that pressure on. Let him keep that streak going. That one was going to be, what was it going to be? 56, and that's right on that. I think I've told you, it's right at 55. I feel comfortable, 56 into a little breeze. That's putting a lot of heat on him.
Mark, you mentioned about the protection issues you're having right now. Can you put your finger on 1 or 2 things that are causing those?
Well, a couple today. There was 1 or 2 add-ons where the backers just triggered, and the back has to pick it up and be firm, and give them some space. I'll have to look at that on film to see whether Brock could have then stepped up or if it chased him completely out of the pocket. Obviously, the tackles, we can't constantly chip. You have to be able to protect and some one-on-ones. And I know there was a couple that speed, got us off the edge again with the tackles. So, but it's been everybody. I think, again, I've said that, and I want to say South Carolina, when, the edge guys that they have, we got beat inside by one, everybody's had a turn. So that we just got to continually work to have the continuity of the offensive line. They all can do it. We just got to work together. It's not like some big, massive scheme problem or anything like that. It's just, continue to work and be on the same page and strain and finish our blocks.
Mark, it looked like Abasel was getting some run. Is that?
Yeah. We had planned on, getting him in there and Malachi in there, and we wanted to give him some reps today, regardless.
Mark, you guys have tried to get Marion engaged a couple times in other ways other than the past game. Did it early on today, but finally worked there towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
You guys got around on that sweep and got him in the end zone. How important is it going forward to be able to get him involved with that speed in other ways?
Yeah, that's part of the game. I mean, you see it in the NFL, you see it in college. I mean, obviously, if you're like me, you get, when the ball's on the perimeter, it doesn't work. You're like, that's enough of that shit on the perimeter. You know what I mean? So, and then there's times when it works. You know what I mean? And so, I think, even you look at last week, you look at this week, if we're continue to be effective, I said it early on with this team, with the slicing and dicing that they do, we had to hit them with some gap schemes, and they made it hard in the run game. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we might have been more efficient at running the ball last week. You know what I mean? At downhill runs. In between the tackles. So I knew. We knew it was going to be hard, and that's part of the game, getting the ball on the perimeter, and then part of it. Some of it's reads too. When Gavin was in there, we thought we'd probably hit the downhill, and that's more like Q power, which is inside. But the read told him to give it. I would assume. Just real life out there. It looked like they took both away. You know what I mean?
Big taking the game on the ground, obviously. You love that, but
To have so many different guys doing that, you have to, I mean,
Yeah.
two quarterbacks both doing it. And
the threat of Barry, does that help you really dictate the game even more that you have so many different guys?
Again, it's part of it. You know what I mean? With this offense, there's a lot of pre-snap. There's a lot of motion. Obviously, there's perimeter run game, but we've hit it downhill as well. And there's a lot of guys that have done that. With AB, earlier in the game, he bounced one on the perimeter run, and I kind of, got on him, jumped him during the game. I'm like, dude, stick your foot in the ground. There was 5 yards. The big difference between 2nd and 5 and 2nd and 15. And later, he did that. You saw 2 or 3 tough runs, and he looked me square in the eyes. He knew exactly what I was talking about. You got to get dirty runs. You get that ball in the perimeter like that, put your foot down, get 4 or 5 yards of tough yards. I mean, that's good. It's efficient.
okay, folks, thank you very much. Assistant coaches in the dining hall.